be showing you how to do two new stitches. Both are related to each other, which is why I chose to do them both. I will be showing you how to do a double crochet, and then I will be showing you how to do a half double crochet. And the half double crochet essentially is really just the halfway step of the double crochet, which is why it's called that. And for this, I will be using this beautiful blue, it's called Misty Blue, acrylic yarn by Loops and Threads. And I'm also going to be using my stitch markers just so we can practice keeping our space. And I'm also going to be using my scissors at the end just in case I want to taper off. And as far as hook size, I'm using my 5 milliliter hook, and we will get started. And in case you don't remember, please go back to my first video where I show you how to do a slip knot, as well as how to chain. And that way, when you come back to here, you will be all caught up. So I'm actually going to start off with 12 chains. So I got my first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So nothing fancy, just my 12 chains here. And for this project, just like you would when you were doing your single crochets down the line, you would do the same thing. You would chain 1. And when you chain your 1, when you move on to your second row, you'll actually change 2. But the reason why we're chaining 1 here is because, again, I want to help with that slack for when I'm going down my line. So per usual, we are going to insert in our first stitch here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my yarn, I'm going to yarn it over my hook, and then that will give me 2 loops on my hook. And in that hole in my chain, I'm going to insert my hook, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through, and I will end up with 3 loops on my hook. And in order to complete this double crochet, I'm actually going to yarn over and pull through 2 of those loops, which will leave me 2 loops at the end. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull through again, and that will give me 1 loop. Okay, I will show you again. So first things first, I'm going to yarn over my hook first, and then I'm going to insert on my third stitch here. I'm going to yarn over again and pull through, and that will give me 3 loops on my hook. In order to finish my double crochet, I'm going to yarn over again, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2, and that will give you 1 loop. So practice that all the way down the line, and I will meet you on the way down. Okay, welcome back. So when you are all done with your double crochet row, it should look like this. And as you notice, our stitches are a lot looser in this than they were when we did our single crochets. And it actually kind of had like a springy action to it. And you will see that there's all these gaps in between, and you have like these nice little twisty posts in the middle. And you should still have your 12 stitches at the top. Remember, that's the best way to count because you kind of have that detail there. And just so we get into the practice of using our stitch marker, I'm actually going to insert my stitch marker at the end. And now we are going to move on to the next row. So in order to move on to the next row, as I mentioned, I want to maintain the height that I now have with my double crochets. So I'm going to chain 2. And then I am going to turn my work like this. And now my stitch marker is on the other side, and I now have my first double crochet essentially on this side. And I say that because, again, we chain 2. So, and if you kind of pull it to the side, you will see how these perfectly align with each other. So when I go to make my double crochet next, I'm not going to insert in that first loop. I'm actually going to insert in my second loop or stitch here. So In the second row, I'm actually going to show you how to do a half double crochet. So for a half double crochet, we're essentially going to do exactly what we did in our first row. We're going to yarn over, and then I'm going to insert my hook in that second loop. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, and we will still end up with 3 loops on our hook. And instead of drawing through 2 and then 2 and then ended up with 1 loop, I'm actually just going to yarn through all 3. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and that gives me a half double crochet. And it's half because you do half the process, or at least that's my justification behind it. So, and you are just going to continue to practice that all the way down, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, welcome back. So, just some differences to note. This is what your work should look like. As you can see, we have all these beautiful little spaces on the bottom and our clear posts. And at the top, you will notice that our stitches are now a little bit tighter. You still have posts up there, but they're a little bit tighter because we have a shorter height. And I actually have one more stitch to go. And I will show you that again. So I'm going to yarn over my hook, and I'm going to take my hook and insert it into my stitch here. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, and I have 3 loops, and then I'm just going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And so this stitch is nice because single crochets are nice, but sometimes when you have a project, it might take a little bit longer to do a project because you're doing all those individual stitches. And a double crochet and a half double crochet are nice because you can fill those rows with a little bit of a tighter stitch, but also kind of cover a little bit more width. So if I was to continue this, I would just chain 2, I would turn my work, and as I mentioned, that chain 2 is your first stitch, so you do not have to go into this first one here. And actually the reason why is because you will end up with a straighter edge, as opposed to going right into that first stitch. You can if you want to, but for the sake of just trying to keep it a little bit more straight, you can just skip it and then yarn over, insert your hook, pull through all 3 like so. And then now you have like this really nice square edge. And then if you want, in your next stitch, you can also practice alternating between double crochets and half double crochets. So in the next stitch, I'm actually going to put a double crochet, and then in the next one, I'm going to put a half double crochet. And as you notice, it actually starts to round off my work here, which is helpful when you're making things that you want to have like more of a shape to it. Like if you want to learn how to crochet a leaf, or if you want to learn how to crochet something that requires a not so square edge, this would be a good stitch to learn. So for now, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.